Our service leader is sort of Nikki. Well, I guess we're kind of doing it together. We had anticipated that Steve Ryan would come and talk to us about the main way. He wasn't able to join us this morning, so Nikki is going to stand in for him, and I will be kind of doing whatever I need to do up here. So welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Saco and Biddeford. We also want to welcome those joining us on YouTube this morning and encourage you to have a candle or a chalice to light when we light ours here in a few minutes. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, we are glad that you're with us here today. The theme for the month of December is wonder. We invite you to carry that theme with you as you are with us today and into your daily life as you leave today. We strive to be a green sanctuary. It gives roots and wings to our vision of a world where all people build toward a sustainable future and make reverence and gratitude and care for the living earth central to their lives. We want to acknowledge that our building sits on the land of the Wabanaki Confederation, which includes the Abenaki, Maliseet, Micmac, Passamaquoddy, and Penobscot nations. We invite you to take home the order of service for information and announcements, or you may leave it for recycling at the exit in the back. Our current COVID guidelines are on the back page. There will be social hour in the parish hall after service. Vines cross and intertwine themselves on a tree trunk. It is a wonder and a mystery that our paths have crossed, that in the immensity of time, in the vastness of space, we coincide right here, right now. I'm in awe at the ways in which our lives intersect and intertwine, at the beauty we create when we gather. May our coming together make us more compassionate, more just, more caring, and more loving. May our hearts and minds be open to this offering. I'm so glad that you're here. Let us worship Let us marvel at the miracle of being right here, right now, and the mystery which has brought us all together. And now I'm going to invite you to join me in singing hymn number 389. It's actually a hymn in rounds, but we are just going to sing it together in unison 3 times. Now, as our new tradition, let's turn and greet our neighbor. And I invite you to join me in reading our covenant together. This is our sacred promise, to gather together in peace, to seek truth in love, to serve human need, so that all shall grow in harmony with the divine. Please join me in lighting the chalice. The words are found in the insert of your bulletin. We light this chalice today to invite the Spirit. Our families, our friends, our community, and the world. To remind us that our ideals mean something. To inspire us to find new ways to live out our ideals. To help us find a new way to love. Bear with me, this isn't my normal job, just so you all know. Well, most of you know that, so I'm a little confused here. This is the time in our service when we invite people to share what is in their hearts, whether it is a great joy or a deep sorrow. It is not a time for announcements or public or political statements. If you wish, please come forward and light a candle, tell us your name, and if you'd like to share your joy or sorrow with us. If you choose to do so, please hold the mic straight in front of you, parallel to the floor, and speak clearly into the mic so you can be heard in our sound system.
Good morning, I'm Donna, and this is a candle of joy. I don't want to embarrass him, but I want to say how much I enjoy Paul Benya's music, and not only his music, but it seems that over recent times he's become more interactive and more relaxed, and we're just having a good time with him, and just wanted to say that I love it.
Hi, I'm Nikki, and I lit a candle earlier today, a memorial candle for my Aunt Thelma, who passed away last Tuesday. It's significant because she was a lovely, funny, smart Southern woman, and she was my mother's youngest sister, and she is the last of the 8 children. So my brother pointed out, we don't have any more aunts and uncles left. So, but a long life, well lived. She would have been 99 on her birthday in February. So.
Morning, I'm Doreen Spirito. I light 2 candles this morning, one for my brother-in-law, Randy, who is having a very slow, arduous recovery from heart surgery. And also thinking at this time of the year of especially those people that are suffering with any kind of mental illness, are marginalized, homeless, and people of war. I light a candle for those people.
Good morning. I am lighting a candle for the joy of this church. When you go through a tough week and you're so busy, you can't even hear yourself think. And you just think, I'll make it till Sunday. And when you come Sunday, you're greeted with all these wonderful people with smiles and hugs. And it's just the joy of my week. And I know it is to most of us. So I'm just thankful for that.
You stole my candle. That's what I was going to say. As I light one last candle for the joys and sorrows left unspoken, let us take a moment to hold what we have heard in our hearts. Now I'd like to invite Carol Bryant forward, not Carol Evans. I don't know who Carol Evans is, but she's going to come forward and light our Advent candle of love.
As we celebrate the season of Advent, today we light the candle of love. I want to share a few of my thoughts on love. Love is within us. Love is around us. Love is family, friends, community. Love is the innocence and imagination of children. Love is the joy of proud parents and grateful grandparents. Love is a feeling. Love is a thought. Love is a smile. Love is a tear. Love is a heartbeat. Love is the emotion created by music. Love is all that Mother Nature gives us in the land and water we share with our planet. Love is everywhere, yet it often goes unnoticed. Love is the foundation of our prayers. In this season of Advent and always, seek out love, embrace it, and share it as we strive to make our world a better place for all. I'm happy to share love with all of you this morning.
Now please stand as you are able and join me in singing hymn number 134, Our World is One World. Testing. Good. We're just going to keep trying to stand in a different place to see what makes sense as we read, and we read to people on the YouTube. So today I'm going to read a story for all ages called Imagine If. And I'm going to tell you it came in the mail yesterday, so I didn't really know what I was getting. And so it's a really cool book. And at the end of each page, it says, if you pick this, go to page whatever. So that's not going to work here. So just stay with me. I'm just going to try to read through the whole thing, and hopefully it's going to make more sense. And it's called Imagine If, a Homeless Experience, and it's written by Stephanie Volhop. You've had an unfortunate job loss. You recently lost your job. You quickly try to find other employment, but there are not many jobs available right now. At the end of the month, you do not have enough money to pay rent. You are unemployed and on the verge of being homeless. So where can you live? You are back to the drawing board again. You sit down and brainstorm all the places you could live. You need to decide which option you think might work. So here are your choices. Live with your parents, ask your friends for help, sleep in your car, go to a homeless shelter, sleep outside, apply for affordable housing. So you have a discussion with your landlord. You try to explain your situation. However, your landlord tells you that she has her own bills to pay, and depending on your rent as well. You try to gather the money you need, but in the end, you still come up short, so you have to move out. You are now homeless. You ask your friends for help. If you could stay just a few nights with them while you're sorting things out. Your friend wants to help, but his partner doesn't really want you to stay. So he gives you $25, but the money doesn't find you a roof. So your questions are, do you ask to sleep on another friend's couch, or do you explore other options? So then you go job hunting. You apply at a couple of places using your parents' and friends' contact information. You offer to help with some odd jobs around the community. However, you do not make any money today, and unfortunately, you don't have any good leads on jobs. So do you try again tomorrow, or do you explore other options? You decide that you'll try living with your parents. The money you could save by not paying rent and eating free meals while living with your parents would be nice. However, your parents have told you before that adults should be able to take care of themselves and really don't want you living there. You stay a few nights, but this is not a long-term solution. Because of a poor relationship with your family, you need to move on. You must consider other options. You will not be able to rely on them for more than a few days. You move some items that you have from your house into your car. And then your items out of the way, and you crawl into the back seat curling up your legs so you can fit. You toss and you turn, you try laying down in the front seat, but the hard, uncomfortable seat and the noisy city sounds make it difficult to sleep. If you are going to continue sleeping in your car, you will need to get rid of some of your belongings and make more room. Try that. You're living in your car in the winter. It will be difficult to stay warm, and in the summer, you will have to deal with extreme heat. You worry about parking in safe places, being towed and drawing too much attention. You are lucky your city hasn't made it illegal to live in a vehicle yet. It happens in other cities. While you've come up with a temporary place to stay, it doesn't solve your need for food or gas money or a job. So what should you do now? How can you make money? You need to figure out a way to make money for food and gas. You sit down and brainstorm your options. And the choices here are you try to find a job, you try to apply for public assistance, you ask strangers for money, or you find illegal ways to make money. And there's endless job hunting. You put in more applications in the hope that someone will hire you. After talking with many people, someone says they'll pay you $25 in cash to mow their lawn. So you make $25 today. So tomorrow, do you try to find another job? Do you make a sign that says job needed? What other options can you explore? You stay at a friend's house, but your friend says only for tonight. Her apartment is too small, the couch is uncomfortable, but at least you're warm for one night. So then you go to a homeless shelter. You've never been to a shelter before, so you worry about the unknowns. Do you have to call a number first? Do you need to reserve a spot? Will they make you pay a fee? Do you pre-register earlier in the day, or do you just show up? The local shelter opens at 6, and you arrive 15 minutes early only to find a line of people that wraps around the block. You are unable to stay at the shelter tonight because you have arrived too late. It is already full. The man next to you mumbles, "It's crazy that you have to be here 2 hours ahead of time to find a bed." So do you find temporary shelter for the night and come back tomorrow? Or do you give up staying at the shelter at all and explore other options? Tonight you sleep outside. This is the exact situation you've been working so hard to avoid, but here you are, sleeping on benches, in doorways, under bridges, and in parks. You feel like you must always be on alert. The city noises and hard ground make it so hard to sleep. In the middle of the night, someone steals a few items out of your backpack, and you learn the hard way that it is safer to sleep during the day than at night. You feel like a failure, and the lack of good quality sleep makes it even worse. Do you find other people who are homeless and camp with them? Do you talk to somebody about getting a tent, or do you explore other options? You apply for affordable housing. After gathering information about several different affordable housing programs, you learn that the most programs are not accepting new applications. You find one program that can add you to their 2-year waiting list. Feeling discouraged, you must consider other options. I'm starting to hear that feedback again. Ask strangers for money. In a dumpster, you find a piece of cardboard and borrow a marker. You make your sign and spend 2 hours on a street corner hoping someone will give you something, anything. Many people avoid even looking at you, which makes you feel lonely and invisible. A man leans out his car and yells, "Get a job." You are frustrated because you have been trying. You make $3.25, which isn't even enough to get a cup of coffee. You have been trying for months to find a job, but it seems like no one will hire you for a good-paying job. You've looked for minimum wage jobs, but while they may cover food and basic expenses, it will not be enough to pay rent. You also won't have time to look for work that will pay more and allow you to truly get out of this mess. You must consider other options. So you keep asking strangers for money. After a couple of hours of standing on the corner with your sign, a kid leans out their window and hands you a bag of stuff. As the kid approaches, he says, "I made this just for you." You smile and say thank you. Later that day, another kid hands you a bottle of water and wishes you a good day. Today has been a really hard day. and you started to feel like giving up, but those simple acts of kindness give you hope to keep going. Tonight, as you lay down on the hard sidewalk to rest, you feel so discouraged, and you begin to think about how you got into this situation. You did everything you could to avoid being homeless, but one unfortunate job loss put you on the streets. You think of stereotypes of people experiencing homelessness, and now you see how complicated it can be and how difficult it is to break that cycle. After trying all the traditional ways of looking for a job and failing, you get creative with a cardboard sign that says "Job Needed." A man stops and asks you to tell him your story. He offers you a trial landscaping job, and eventually you are hired full-time as one of the most reliable employees. Because one person was willing to take a chance on you, you managed to save enough money to break the cycle of homelessness and only experienced it temporarily. The other alternative is you spend all day walking to the nearest public assistance office so you can apply for programs that help with food assistance, health care, and unemployment. A lady asks you for your address and you explain you are homeless and you do not have a physical mailing address. She mentions it might take extra time for them to verify your information, but benefits are still possible. She says check back in 2 weeks and we'll process your application. You can also ask strangers for help. In a dumpster, you find it. Oh, wait. You have nowhere to go and it's nothing to do as you walk and wander the city to pass time. Time passes slowly as you sit down again and wait. As people walk by you, they either ignore you or act like you don't exist. You feel so alone as the days and weeks roll by. You realize you can now check back into public assistance office. You worry that you will not be able to qualify for help and start the long walk back to the office. You make the long walk back to the public assistance office only to be told your request is denied. You appeal the decision. Then your application is accepted and received. You get food assistance, health insurance, and a little other help. You are now living in a homeless camp. For now, the weather is perfect, but you know summer will be miserably hot and winter will be unbearably cold. You realize you are increasing your risk of illness or potential loss of items due to accidental fire or theft by living in a group setting. But you enjoy the company of other people that understand your situation. The person you know the best has a dog that brings him so much comfort. You understand why he lives in the encampment because he couldn't bring his pet into the shelter. But you are hungry and you need to figure out how to make money. I'm going to end there. There's still quite a few. What's interesting to me, and thank you for bearing with me, this book is for ages 5 to 9. This book was written for kids 5 to 9 to understand homelessness. Can you even imagine? And, you know, as I'm reading this book, I've been participating in the Biddeford Homeless Task Force. And this, you could lift right out of those meetings. This is exactly what it's like for people experiencing homelessness. So I was looking forward to Steve joining us, but I'm looking forward to even more Nikki being here and reading his words for ways that they can integrate folks who are experiencing homelessness back into our culture, I guess. And so now, wait a minute here. No. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Not well? Yeah. Well, I'm gonna turn this back on. So I'm gonna share with you a reading by a homeless youth. Sat on the edge of society, wondering why I'm not a priority. What's come of my life? What's come over me? My life's in tatters, can't you see? Begging at the bank every day, get a job, get a life, people say. I get no benefit, just what people give. to buy food and drink to let me live. I live in the street, a doorway's my bed, people think I'm thick in my head. It's just me, myself, and I, nobody wants me. Do you know why? Don't I deserve to live with a smile, to make my life worth the while?
Good morning again. Steve Ryan is very sorry not to be here today. He misses all of you. And as soon as he is able, he and Jim will come back. For those of you that don't know, Steve had some pretty challenging health issues earlier this year. And he is recovering very well from that, but just didn't feel quite up to coming in today. So he thanks everybody for their love and support and looks forward to seeing you, all of you, sometime in the near future. These words Steve has written about the main way, and I'll tell you a little bit about it using his words here. The Main Way Incorporated is an organization that was founded 25 years ago. It was the brainchild of one Vicki Edgerly, who at the time was the General Assistant Director for the City of Biddeford, and Ann Daly, a clinical social worker for the state of Maine. Both had noticed an enormous surge in homelessness in recent years and decided that a back to the future approach would be a good start to addressing the problem. 75 years ago, practically every town and city in this country had rooming houses that provided inexpensive accommodations to mostly single individuals. The rooms were Spartan. Most had only a small sink and no real kitchen. The shared bathroom was down the hall. With the post-World War building boom and the introduction of zoning, however, these cheap accommodations were considered substandard. And in truth, many of them were. But the consequences of the prohibition of rooming houses have ushered in a huge increase in homelessness. Wages for low-skilled jobs have not kept up with surging rents. In Biddeford and the Saco area, it often takes $3,000 or more just to rent an apartment. For someone on the verge of homelessness, that's a colossal fortune and totally out of reach. So in the year 2000, the Main Way purchased the old Bassford House at 73 South Street in Biddeford. It had 7 beautiful bedrooms and 4 bathrooms in an old Victorian mansion. In addition, there was 1-bedroom apartment for a house manager, as well as 2 parlors, an office, a dining room, and a kitchen. It had been well cared for throughout its history, and it boasted beautiful fireplaces, elegant moldings, and wood floors. In short, it was ideal. For financing, we approached the Maine State Housing Authority and the Federal Home Loan Bank of Boston, as well as the Biddeford Housing Authority. We also received grants from the Saco Bay Rotary, the Altrusa Club, Biddeford Savings Bank, and Saco Biddeford Savings, as well as many, many individual donors. We were able to furnish all 7 bedrooms and most of the common rooms with high-quality furniture donated by our community. Technically, we are a transitional housing facility. We are not a homeless shelter. Since we do not always have on-site staff, we're careful to screen our prospective tenants. We do not admit homeless people with a violent past or sex offenders. The business model for our home, though, is problematic. Most landlords want to keep their tenants. We want them to move on as soon as possible. Tenants are allowed to stay at the house up to 18 months, but we allow extensions in unusual circumstances. Over the years, we have helped several hundred people restart their lives. Our program is very simple. Once a tenant moves into the house, we connect them with a caseworker, and together they create a plan for self-sufficiency. We charge a rent of $645 per month, and all tenants are assigned chores to do in the common areas. If a tenant has no income, we help them find city and state assistance, suitable employment, or both. And I will also add that Steve and Jim, as landlords in Biddeford and Saco, would often take people down and help them apply for aid. Most of our folks work and cobble together an income, often with several part-time jobs. Each tenant is required to save for a security deposit. Once our folks can move on, we provide them with a landlord reference, which is critical in securing permanent housing. I've been a board member for the last 22 years. Despite what we all hear in the press, homeless folks are pretty much like you and me. The majority work but live in a twilight world of housing insecurity, often pitching a tent in the woods during the warmer months and sleeping in a vehicle when the weather turns cold. They unfortunately lack the income and social support system that most of us take for granted, and anyone can become homeless. Your generosity this month will allow us to continue to rebuild lives, to give folks down on their luck a fresh start, and to make a better world. And for that, we thank you from our hearts.
So I guess we kind of went around the tree a little bit because the title of today was What's Love Got to Do with It? And love's got a lot to do with it. Love is what Mainway is doing for people who are in the margins. Love is what's happening with the Biddeford Homeless Task Force. And love is what's happening in here as we share the plate with the Mainway. But also, I invite you to think about love as something else. I love Carol's words this morning. And another thing I would add into that is love is about being strong enough to be uncomfortable, because this is not a comfortable issue. Again, I read this children's book. How uncomfortable is it that we have to tell our kids what homelessness really looks like? So as we get ready to share the plate with Mainway, as we do our offering this morning, just remember the invitation is to not whitewash this. The invitation is to stay present with this issue so that we somehow can help transform it. When we gather together as a community, we bring the gifts of ourselves, our hearts, our spirits, our time, our energy, our talents, and skills to support the work of this church, here within our walls and out in the larger community. We also bring the gift of generosity, giving of what we have, so that the work of this church may continue. As always, half of our offering goes out in the larger community. Today it goes to the Mainway. If you are watching from home, donations may be made through the Give button at the top of our webpage, uuchurchsacobiddeford.com, or checks may be mailed to UUCSB 60 School Street, Saco, Maine 04072. Or for those joining us on YouTube, you may click on the PayPal button in the video. Please be generous as the ushers collect this morning's offering. Please join me in extinguishing the chalice. As we release this flame from its faithful service today, we allow the spark of keeping us stirred up, to warm our compassion, to fire our blood, to light our paths, today, tomorrow, and always. And please remain standing and join me in singing hymn number 226, People Look East. Go out into the world in peace, looking for every possibility to find and expand love, finding every possibility to create justice, using every opportunity to extend mercy, and go now in peace. Amen.